The interest bill just leapfrogged defense. The debt clock is moving faster than ever. Who benefits? Banks, funds, and institutions holding the bonds receive the payments while the public foots the bill. But here's the reality. The meeting that established this system didn't happen in Congress. It happened in a side room in 1694. If money equals debt, paying it off completely contracts the money supply itself. So we aren't fixing the problem, we're maintaining the system's life support. Rewind to a broke king, a syndicate of bankers, and a contract with no expiration date, written to outlive you. Pillar 1. The Permanent IOU. 1694's side deal. War with France is draining the treasury, and King William III is out of funds. Taxes are tapped, and the crown's credibility is failing. The stakes are absolute. If he can't pay soldiers or ships, he risks losing the war and his throne. Merchants and citizens are losing trust in a monarch who constantly demands more revenue. London's financiers propose a radical solution. They will fund the king immediately, and in return, he grants them a charter to form a bank with a sovereign monopoly. The crucial innovation is that the debt isn't meant to be paid off completely. It rolls over. Interest flows indefinitely. It introduces a new model, perpetual funding for perpetual survival. In that side room, the Bank of England's charter takes shape. Government debt becomes a tradable asset, a thing you can hold, sell, or pledge. Suddenly, the king's promise is paper with a yield. The math turns tax revenue into an interest stream, binding future generations to a financial obligation they never signed. The arrangement is strictly business. A syndicate of financiers offers immediate cash and liquidity for the realm. In exchange, they demand a monopoly on banking and perpetual interest payments backed by taxation. The king accepts, securing the lifeline needed to maintain power. Mechanically, this is the age of perpetuals and annuities. Redemption is optional. Interest is mandatory. As the war ends, the temporary measure doesn't wind down. Bureaucracy learns a new thrill: power through rolling debt. Why kill the golden goose when it lays coupons every quarter? Human reactions split. Merchants cheer the liquidity, credit gets easier, shipbuilders get paid, trade hums. Taxpayers, though, they inherit a bill they never signed, collected through duties, excise, and the polite violence of law. Across the Atlantic, colonial observers take notes. Empire runs on logistics, and logistics run on debt markets. The model scales, sails, and embeds. A republic later promises it'll be different. It winks, then it isn't. Because once you taste perpetual funding, austerity looks like a bad hobby. Pillar 2. Industrializing the machine. 1913's new engine fast forward to the era of American panics. Bank runs, broken trust, and a volatile financial system. The consequences are severe. People lose savings, and businesses fold. Elites want elasticity, a currency supply that expands during crises. Politicians want funding methods that don't rely solely on direct taxation. They need a central authority to manage the flow. Enter the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. It establishes a complex system of public and private governance, sold as a lender of last resort to stabilize credit. The mechanics are precise. The Fed and the Treasury become linked. One issues bonds, the other facilitates their role as the foundation of the financial system. Debt becomes the backbone of safe assets, and bank reserves grow out of government promises. Critics argue we solved panics by centralizing the risk. Through open market operations, the Fed buys government debt and credits bank accounts. New money enters the system as bank liabilities, matched by treasury bonds. Your dollars represent debt, and the system functions because that debt is backed by Washington. There's a human upside. Farmers get steadier loans. Shopkeepers don't watch credit evaporate every time headlines twitch. But the hidden cost is a ratchet. Left or right, it mostly tightens. Each crisis invites a larger response, and balance sheets don't love dieting. Then, war finance crashes through the door. World War I, later World War II, both temporary. Bills surge, bonds fly off desks, and patriotic posters sell you savings while the Fed keeps rates tame. After peace, the tab doesn't cancel. The machinery that financed victory becomes the permanent kitchen appliance no one can unplug. The social contract tilts. Savers discover the inflation tax, a quiet haircut applied while they sleep. Asset owners learn a new language: leverage, carry, appreciation. The gap widens because the system rewards whoever owns the claims rather than the hours. There's still a leash, gold, keeping up the illusion of restraint. A weight class for the dollar, a promise that claims can meet metal. But pressures build under the floorboards, more commitments, fewer anchors. While that's happening on Wall Street, cabinets in Washington are drafting the speech that will snap the leash on live TV. Pillar 3. Breaking the leash, 1971's convertibility exit. By the late 1960s, the mathematics of the system were failing. Foreign central banks held vast amounts of dollars they could swap for gold, while Washington funded new programs and wars. Dollar claims multiplied while gold reserves remained static. The choice was stark: deplete Fort Knox completely, or fundamentally change the dollar's nature. On a Sunday night, President Nixon announces the suspension of dollar-to-gold convertibility. He describes it as temporary, but it becomes permanent. The dollar floats, yet the system retains its structure: treasuries as the safety net and the Fed as the issuer, removed from the constraints of gold. It marks the full transition to fiat currency. Mechanically, everything gets cleaner for policymakers and messier for everyone else. Money becomes fully abstract. Bank deposits are promises backed by government IOUs, and those I owe us no longer pretend to meet metal. The plumbing gains pressure. Deficits expand faster because the only hard constraint left is politics, and politics loves soft constraints. Each crisis can be met with bigger balance sheets because why not? We centralize the panic button, now we remove the guardrail. To keep global demand glued to dollars, a new arrangement takes shape. Sell oil in dollars, park the proceeds in treasuries. The petrodollar isn't a secret handshake, it's a standing order. Energy gets priced in green, and the world needs the green to keep the lights on. That means there's a permanent bid for the debt, which means the machine hums even louder. Humans, meanwhile, do math on grocery receipts. Wages chase prices like a kid chasing a bus. Asset owners watch their houses, and stocks gain weight from all the money calories. Renters and savers get a slow haircut called inflation. The line between policy and moral hazard blurs. Every blow-up seems to demand a bigger rescue, and rescues teach insiders to skate closer to thin ice. With the leash cut, the rule becomes simple. Don't let the music stop. Keep credit expanding. Keep the debt rolling. Keep the confidence high. Which brings us to the show everyone hates but can't stop watching. Pillar 4. Today's treadmill, debt ceiling theater, and the interest shock. This brings us to the modern era. The debt ceiling has become a recurring political event involving hearings and countdown clocks. Despite the rhetoric about fiscal restraint, the limit is consistently raised to accommodate past spending obligations. It is a cycle of political posturing followed by increased borrowing. The stakes are significant. Interest costs now rival major budget items like defense and social security. As older, low-rate debt matures, the government must refinance at higher current rates, causing the interest bill to spike. These rollovers create vulnerability. If markets lose confidence, the cost of borrowing climbs even higher. The crowding out debate gets framed like a bar fight: government borrowing versus private investment. Reality is ruder. Global portfolios crave treasuries because they're the cleanest collateral in a messy world. The crowding out happens in households. Mortgages reset. Credit cards nibble paychecks, and small businesses decide whether to hire or just breathe. Banks, funds, and money markets lap up yield. Retirees on fixed incomes get paid in shrinking dollars. Mechanically, there is a paradox. In a system where broad money consists largely of bank deposits backed by credit, paying off all federal debt would effectively contract the money supply. Removing treasuries drains reserves and shrinks deposits. Under this monetary design, total debt repayment would lead to severe economic contraction. So we rehearse the same play. Rollover, refinance, reshuffle. When liquidity hiccups, think downgrade scares, repo market spasms, policy sprints in with tranquilizers. Sovereign risk is priced gently until it isn't. One bad auction, one unexpected shock, and spreads whisper a new story. Then the phones light up and the panic button glows. The human beat lands the hardest. Renters pay landlords whose balance sheets ride the asset tide. Savers get told to be prudent while prudence loses ground. Workers hear about record markets and see record rents. The treadmill's speed nudges up just enough that you don't fall, you just don't arrive. Step back. Was this a bug we kept forgetting to patch, or was permanence the feature from day one? The temporary wartime bridge became the permanent road, and the toll gets indexed to your future. Debt isn't an accident. It's the operating system, your labor pre-sold to stabilize today's calm and yesterday's promises. If you want the human stories behind these policies, subscribe. Then watch our follow-up on how 1971 rewired paychecks, rents, and savings. If you want receipts, we'll bring them.